Jai Swaminarayan. Today we are reading Panchālā 3 of the Vachanamrut. This passage is titled Muni Bāwā, and that which is instrumental in attaining liberation is known as intelligence. Let's begin. On Phagun, Sudhi the 8th, Samvat 1877, or the 11th of March 1821, Shriji Maharaj was sitting on a large decorated cot in Jinabhai's darbar in Loya. My apologies, I'm so used to the previous section. Not in Loya, in Panchālā. He was wearing a white case and had covered himself with a white blanket. He had also tied a white veto around his head. At that time, an assembly of Paramhansas, as well as an assembly of devotees from various places, had gathered before him. Then Shriji Maharaj said to the Paramhansas, "Please begin a question-answer session." Thereupon, Muni Bāwā asked Brahmanand Swami, "We have attained this satsang fellowship," meaning an assembly of spiritual seekers, as well as the association of God. All other flaws have all been eradicated, and we also have zeal to do satsang. Despite this, why do egotism and jealousy still remain? Brahmanand Swami then began to supply an answer, but was unable to do so satisfactorily. Thereupon Shriji Maharaj said, "Such a person lacks intelligence." Why? Because one who is intelligent realizes all of their flaws and virtues, as well as the virtues and flaws of others. On the other hand, one who is not intelligent only acknowledges their own virtues, but fails to realize their drawbacks. They feel themselves to be as eminent as Sanakadik, and they view other eminent people to be inferior to themselves. One who is intelligent, though, realizes their own flaws, i.e., they acknowledge the fact that I possess this many flaws. Then, maintaining an intense aversion towards those flaws, they eradicate them. Also, if a sadhu, if a monk or spiritual renunciant, were to speak to them about eradicating those flaws, they would accept that advice as beneficial. As a result, no flaws of egotism, jealousy, etc. would remain in them. On the other hand, someone may appear to be very intelligent, but if they do not introspect over their own flaws, then their intelligence should be known to be merely worldly. Outwardly, that intelligence appears to be very sharp, but they cannot be called intelligent. Actually, they should be known to be an utter fool or a goofball, and their intelligence is futile for attaining their own liberation. In comparison, someone else may possess only a little intelligence, but if, after realizing their own flaws, they attempt to eradicate them, then even their limited intelligence is useful in attaining liberation. In fact, only they can be called intelligent. On the other hand, a person who never sees their own flaws and perceives only their own virtues should be known as a fool. However, one who acknowledges their own drawbacks should be known to be intelligent. Thereafter, Shriji Maharaj instructed, "Now please sing devotional songs." The Paramhansas then commenced singing, "Sakhi aj mohane dhitare sheriye avta," etc. Please forgive my presumably Gujarati improvisation. I do not know the language nor the song, and with it its melody or rhythm. Following this, Shriji Maharaj spoke again. "Now please stop the singing. The devotional songs that you have just sung are full of love. while you were singing, I pondered over the nature of love and realized that love is a great asset to worship God, and to worship God with love is commendable. After deep thought, though, I realized love itself is the Maya, the material existence of God. Why? Because if two people are casually talking to each other, looking at each other, or touching each other, then even if they don't feel attracted to each other, that is a type of love. Or if two people whom are attracted to each other, embracing each other, listening to their talks, enjoying their fragrance, then the love and mental attraction they develop for each other is such that that type of love is distinct from those between two people whom are not attracted to each other. Therefore, that which is the cause of the perpetuation of the world, and that which causes bondage and the cycles of births and deaths, the Maya, the material existence of God itself, takes the form of love. But then I thought, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touch are the panch vishayas, the experiences of the five senses. Having regarded everything else as perishable, if those vishayas are directed only towards God, realizing Him to be the only source of ultimate bliss, then that is fine. That is not Maya. But then I thought that even that is not appropriate. After all, if one perceives sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touch to be better in other objects as compared to those that are in God, one will abandon God and will develop love for the other objects. For example, Sri Krishna Bhagwan's 16,100 wives, who were celestial maidens in past lives, had asked for the following boon from Brahma, the Creator. O Maharaj, we have experienced the touch of devas, deities, demons, and humans, but we have not experienced the touch of God as our husband. Therefore, please grace us so that He becomes our husband. Thereupon Brahma said, perform austerities, God will become your husband. Subsequently, after they performed intense austerities, after which Ashtavakra Rishi and Narad Muni both became pleased and granted the following boon: God will become your husband. In this way, by performing many austerities in other lives, they attained Sri Krishna Bhagwan. However, unperceiving more beauty in Sambh than in God, they became infatuated by Sambh. Therefore, it is not appropriate for one whose mind is not steady to develop love for God through the pleasures of the Vishayas, the senses, or the objects of the senses, of the five Indriyas, the five senses. But if one's mind does remain steady without harboring doubts, then it is appropriate. Moreover, one who is intelligent should develop love for God in the following way. One should realize one's jiva, one's soul, as being distinct from the 24 elements of material existence. Then, after uprooting the vrittis, the thought forces of the five indriyas that are firmly embedded in the jiva, and while remaining as the jiva alone, devoid of the vrittis of the indriyas, one should develop as much love for God as possible in a Nirgun manner. Nirgun means beyond the qualities. What do I mean by Nirgun? Well, the 10 indriyas, which include the 5 organs of perception and the 5 organs of locomotion, are the products of rajogun, passion, activity. The andhakaran, the inner faculties of cognition, And their presiding devas are the products of sattva gun, purity, and the 5 bhuts, the elements, and the panch vishayas, the objects of the 5 senses, are the products of tamogun, darkness. One who believes themselves to be distinct from the products of those 3 gunas, qualities, and from the 3 gunas themselves, remaining as the jiva alone, is known as Nirgun. One should become Nirgun in this manner and develop love for God. Thus it is said in the 7th verse of the 1st chapter of the 2nd canto of the Srimad Bhagavat, Nirgunyasta ramante sma guna nulkhatane harihi, which means, although the Munis had attained the Nirgun state, they still engaged themselves in extolling the glory of God. As well as the 9th verse of the 1st chapter of the 2nd canto of the Srimad Bhagavat, which states, Parinishthitopi Nirgunya Uttama Shloka Lilaya Grhita Cheta Rajarshe Akhyanam Yad Adhitavan, which means, O King Parikshit, despite being perfectly poised in the Nirgun state, I, Shukadevaji, the son of Vedavyas, having been attracted by the divine actions and incidents of God, studied the Srimad Bhagavat epic. Thus, having realized the nature of the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna, the field and the knower of the field, those who possess Jnana, knowing wisdom, in this manner attain Atma realization, realization of their true self, and develop love for God. What is Kshetra, the field? Well, the 3 bodies, Stula, the physical, Sukshma, the subtle, and the Karan, the causal, and the 3 states, waking, dream, and deep sleep, are the Kshetra. Such a person realizes that the Kshetra to be distinct, from their own Atma, their true self, i.e., they feel, those can never be any part of me. I am the knower. I am extremely pure, formless, genderless, and chetan, while the Kshetra is extremely impure, jad, and perishable. Understanding this firmly, they who develop vairagya, dispassion, towards everything else and offers bhakti, loving devotion to God while observing swadharma, the most central kind of righteousness, is known to possess ekantik bhakta and jnana, absolute loving devotion and knowing wisdom. Such a devotee possessing jnana is superior to all. In fact, God has said in the 17th and 18th verse of the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hin jnani no atyar tamham sacha mama priyaha udaraha sarva evaite jnani tvatyam va me matam. Thank you for putting up with my Sanskrit. Which means, of these, i.e. one who is distressed from having fallen from the path of attaining yogic powers and thus still wishes to attain them, one who seeks the knowledge of the Atma, i.e. Atma realization, one who desires material objects, i.e. material pleasures and powers, and one who has jnana, knowing wisdom, The one with jnana is the best because they are always engaged in me and is devoted to me alone. I am extremely dear to a person with jnana, and they are dear to me. They are all indeed noble, but I consider the one with jnana to be my very Atma, Krishna's very self. Realizing this, one should uproot the indriyas, the senses, the antakaran, the inner organs of perception, and the vishayas, the objects of our senses, from the jiva, the soul, and develop love for God. Only that is appropriate. As long as one has not uprooted them, one should extract work from them in the form of the darshan, the sight, the touch, etc. of God. Moreover, they should not be regarded as one's benefactors. Instead, they should be regarded as enemies. In fact, one should never feel gratitude towards them, the senses, by thinking, they are beneficial to me in offering bhakti to God, i.e., one should not feel that the eyes enable one to have the darshan of God, the ears enable one to listen to the discourses of God, the skin enables one to experience the touch of God, the nose enables one to experience the fragrance of God's rosary and tulsi, the mouth enables one to engage in spiritual discourses and sing devotional songs in praise of God, and the tongue enables one to experience the taste of God's prasad, sanctified offerings, etc. One should not understand them to be instrumental in performing bhakti, loving devotion of God. They should not be given gratitude, nor should they be trusted. On the contrary, they should be regarded only as enemies. Why? Because what if, in the process of experiencing happiness through the darshan, the sight, touch, etc. of God, they lure one to believe that there is pleasure in the darshan, the sight, touch, etc. of people whom they'd be attracted to, or other objects of the senses? That would be detrimental. Therefore, those enemies in the form of the 5 indriyas, the senses, should be confined and work in the form of bhakti. Loving devotion to God should be extracted from them. For example, a king who has captured his enemy keeps him chained and extracts work from him, and never does the king free him or trust him. If he were to free him or trust him, then the enemy would definitely kill the king. In the same way, if one trusts one's enemies in the form of the senses themselves, the indriyas, and frees them, not keeping them confined, they will definitely make one fall from the path of God. Therefore, they should never be trusted. Moreover, and by the way, this was written at the time of the British imperialization of India, just as the British arrest a criminal and keep them standing in a witness box to question them, without freeing them or trusting them, in the same way the indriyas, the senses, and the anthakarana, the inner faculties of cognition, should be kept in a witness box and in chains in the form of the niyams of the 5 religious vows, various spiritual ways to and to not conduct yourself. And they should be made to offer bhakti, loving devotion to God. They should not, however, be given any gratitude. They should be looked upon only as enemies. If they are regarded as benefactors, realizing them to be useful in bhakti, and if they are given gratitude, then in the process of experiencing the happiness of the darshan, the touch, etc. of God, they will lure one to believe there is some pleasure in people whom they may be attracted to, or other objects of the senses. As a result, all efforts one has made will become futile. For example, if one spark of fire were to fall on a large pile of gunpowder, then that gunpowder would be completely reduced to ashes. Similarly, such a person's stability is not certain. Therefore, it is only appropriate that one develops love for God while behaving as the Atma, the true infinite self. That is my principle, and one who develops love for God in this way is dear to me. Moreover, one should think, the beauty of God cannot be found anywhere else. The touch of God cannot be found anywhere else. The fragrance of God cannot be found anywhere else. The bliss experienced from hearing God cannot be found anywhere else. And the tastes related to God cannot be found anywhere else. In this way, one should tempt the Indriyas and the Antahkaran and divert them away from other Vishayas, objects of experience. Such understanding is appropriate. Then, Swayam Prakashanand Swami asked, Maharaj, in which place should one stay and develop all of these thoughts? Shriji Maharaj replied, one should think, I am not the sthul body, the physical, the sukshma body, the subtle, or the karan body, the causal. I do not have the waking dream or deep sleep states. I am not the 5 jnanendriyas, the organs of perception, the 5 karmendriyas, the organs of locomotion. Pardon me, a sneeze overcame me. The 4 antahkaranas, the inner faculties of perception, or the presiding devas of them. In fact, I am distinct from all of these. I am Chaitanya, pure awareness. I am a devotee of God. If the Indriyas and Antahkaran misbehave in some way, they should be reprimanded in the following manner. Do you wish to see the beauty only of God, or do you also wish to see the beauty of others? Do you wish to listen to sounds related only to God and experience smells related to them? Or do you wish to listen to other sounds and experience other smells? If you do hanker after the Vishayas, leaving God aside, then what is there between you and me? Who are you, and who am I? I will have absolutely nothing to do with you. Whatever you do, you will have to bear the consequences. Reprimanding the Indriyas and Antahkaran, the senses and inner faculties of cognition. In this manner, one should pray to God, O Maharaj, O great King, O Swami, O husband of the Divine Feminine, you intensely love your devotees. You are an ocean of mercy. The fault lies with the Indriyas and Antahkaran. I am distinct from them. In fact, they are my enemies. So, please protect me from their influence. One should constantly offer prayer in this manner and understand one's own Kshetrajna, one's knower of the field, to be Chaitanya, pure awareness alone. One should offer love and bhakti, devotion to God. Namaste. Thank you for listening. This has been Panchālā 3 of the Vachanāmrut. May that reading be beneficial to all those whom are continuing on the Swaminarayan path. Jai Swaminarayan.